Welcome, graduates and guests. My name is Rachel Todd, and I'm the director of the Oregon Executive MBA program. And I am pleased to announce that the 37th commencement of the Oregon Executive MBA is now underway. You may now take your seats. It is now my honor to introduce the Lundquist College of Business's Edward Miletus Dean, Bruce Blonigan.
Good afternoon. It's my great honor and pleasure to be here today to share this special moment with our graduates, their family and friends, and our faculty and staff. The graduates of the Oregon Executive MBA program are so inspiring to me. You enter the program with a high level of experience and then pursue a degree while already busy with career and personal lives. The degree of difficulty and the determination it takes to be successfully complete this degree is truly impressive. At the same time, the value of engaging with such a diverse and already successful set of colleagues is very high, and it makes this degree clearly a very worthy endeavor. Now, I recently had time to think more about the college and the special place that this Executive MBA program has amongst the different degrees that we offer when I traveled to Singapore to meet with alumni last week. There I was on a 17-hour nonstop flight between San Francisco and Singapore, more exhausted than I have ever been, yet somehow completely unable to sleep. As I watched every popular movie released in the last 2 years, I had an epiphany out of what was otherwise a complete mental fog. I knew how we should rebrand this program to truly capture how special it is. So, Rachel, without consultation, I've decided that the Oregon Executive MBA program shall now be called the Oregon Top Gun Academy. Now, stay with me here. Imagine a classroom scene where students are unusually engaged and challenging to the instructor because they have already been in real dogfights in the business world. Or in an unusually dramatic scene, we watch with trepidation as one of you pulls an assigned project out of complete free fall to somehow land a passing grade. Of course, we'll have to have nicknames, and I'll let you all fight over some of the obvious ones like cash flow, merch, startup. Okay, I'm realizing now that this sounded so much better last week during hour 12 of a 17-hour flight. I guess the lesson here is to take a couple Ambien and knock yourself out rather than try to fall asleep on your own and start coming up with crazy ideas. So let me make a big retraction on this rebranding. In all seriousness, the Oregon Executive MBA brand is incredibly strong because of the outstanding students and alumni that you will now be part of, which numbers over 1,200 at this point. You are the current and future leaders of our community, and we're incredibly honored and proud that you chose us for your Executive MBA program. Congratulations to you, the Oregon Executive MBA class of 2023, and go Ducks! I will now turn over the podium to Mary Cecchini.
I think we all have a few nicknames we would add, by the way. Well, I had the pleasure of first meeting Carrie Hoytpack about 8 years ago when our paths crossed at Nike. At the time, Carrie was serving in the midst of what would become a 15-plus-year career at Nike, serving as the global vice president of Nike Women. Now, Carrie's very humble, so she probably won't say this, so I will. But Carrie is really one of the drivers behind the creation of the Nike Women brand. What many would argue has revolutionized how Nike and the hundreds of brands inspired by Nike authentically connect with women. But I want to share a bit about my early observations of Carrie. You see, Carrie and I actually had an occasion to be in the same room together, generally about once a week, for a global category design review. Now, Carrie was always the most senior person in the room. I was generally the most junior. But between us were many, many creative directors, brand directors, designers, all with very strong points of view, opinions, and a number of egos, I think it's probably fair to say. But I remember watching Carrie gracefully soak in the scene week after week. She would take time, she would listen, she would acknowledge those strong opinions, and then at the end, she would give the most clear and disarming direction. I learned a lot listening to Carrie and watching how you would lead in those moments. So it really was no surprise when years later, Carrie left Nike to start her own leadership development practice called the Liberty Collective, that her starting point was through her superpower, which is listening. To kick things off, Carrie embarked on a global listening tour, hearing from hundreds of people in 15 cities across 11 countries. She spent time listening, learning, all in the spirit of seeking understanding. That process, married with her leadership from her years at Nike, her time at Wieden & Kennedy, and as a member and later chair of the Oregon Food Bank Board, has brought her to where she sits today as an inspiring community leader and coach. So I invite you all, graduates in particular, to please take a page from Carrie's book and listen closely to the words of wisdom that she has generously offered to share with us today as we embark on what will be our next chapter. So if you could please join me in welcoming Carrie Hoypak.
Well, Mary, thank you for that introduction. And thank you for creating such a positive impression with me all those years ago. So if I made an impression on Mary, she certainly made one on me. There were many folks whom I've had the honor to help lead over my career, and you stood out in the very best way. You were thoughtful, optimistic, and determined to change the world. A magnetic spirit of leadership that has only strengthened and deepened with time. An aspirational set of qualities that I will do my best to reinforce as mission critical for all of us here today. I think of our relationship as a proof point of the power of authentic connection, an exponential energy exchange that has led us here today. A moment with such rich opportunity ahead of you, Mary, and ahead of each of the 43 members of this graduating class, joining together in connection and celebration this glorious sunny afternoon in Portland. I want to start us off with maybe a little bold something, but something that I do often when I welcome a group together. And U of O faculty, friends, and family, you are invited and welcome to join with us. So for those who are able, please plant your feet on the ground and maybe think about letting a few roots grow into the floor, going well beneath this carpet, this building, to the earth far below us here in the great Pacific Northwest. Feel this beautiful space we're in. Really feel it. Recognize the power of this beautiful community that is represented in this room, all woven together, our roots now intertwining in a spirit of celebration for and of all of you. And collectively, let's just take one big breath together, okay? With a little longer exhale. Are you ready, everyone? Okay, I'll start us off. Take a breath. Thank you. I'm so honored to be here in this moment to share some words that I hope you will find both inspiring and energizing. I met with Mary, Kit, and Jana at the unfolding of our Portland Spring to better understand the collective psyche and expectations of this day. One of the most poignant takeaways from the meeting was the deep compassion I felt for all of you as Mary and Jana brought to life their experience of the past few years with this special cohort, this special group of people graduating today. You have all come so far, climbing this mountain of accomplishment called an MBA, while also carrying a massive pack of responsibility and roles on your back. Many of you have done all of this while holding demanding jobs, being responsible for caring for family, trying to be present partners, and needing to be there for so many, which meant you likely often put your own self last. Some of you have a lived experience that has made that pack even heavier. I see you, and I feel that load. All of you are facing massive disruption in the world, which most certainly impacts us as leaders, all of us, in our workplaces, our families, and in our collective communities. And with the weight of all of that, you may also be sitting here with a feeling of pressure to create epic change, to now do something really big, as Mary expressed it in our meeting. After all, you have invested so much time and resource to learn and earn a new level of understanding. Yes, of strategic business concepts, but also of yourself, and ultimately how you might create more positive impact in the world where upheaval and uncertainty are now the norm. Some of you might already have that big thing cooking, and some of you don't, and that's okay. What I want to suggest today is that big might not be something you do at all, but rather something you are. This is an invitation, an alternate route to the journey that lies ahead, perhaps a new path forward for some of you, a round-trip ticket that will return you to yourself. I know because, as Mary shared, I myself wandered off the beaten path of expectation a little over 5 years ago. I decided to leave a highly successful and personally rewarding, yet very stressful and depleting career to make something new. I set out to create an enterprise that in my experience didn't yet exist, to build a practice that could help others grow into more human-centered leaders who believed that mutualism was possible in the workplace. Leaders who spoke the language of reciprocity, who were well-versed with that attribute prime of leadership, empathy. Leaders who were people first. And today, after traveling the world and holding hundreds of individual sessions and team workshops, I can honestly say it's more than possible. It's happening. Group by group, leader by leader, we are creating new norms and building better practices in our work at the Liberty Collective. We are learning with our client partners to curiously listen, to reframe power, to create vulnerability loops that foster trust, to build braver cultures, to be more generative in intent and impact. As I left my career and left so much behind, I was facing the unknown. And then, a world that got way more challenging than I or any of us could ever have guessed. Between a global pandemic and an overdue eruption of pining, often grieving demand for social justice, the need to redefine great leadership was heavier and larger, but also brighter than ever. Back then, in February of 2018, I could only do one thing: take a step forward. And so I did, into this shape-shifting world. I started by traveling and listening intently, which in my understanding is to be willing to be changed by what you hear. We were. We held listening circles, as Mary shared, in 15 cities within 11 countries across 5 continents for over 2 years. People would travel from all corners of each city to join in conversation. Often, these people didn't even know what they were getting into or who else was going to be in the room. But came they did. more than ready to share their truths. In each session, I would ask the same question: what makes a great leader? From Shanghai to Sao Paulo and all the cities in between, there was much weariness. Yes, but also a lot of hope and personal agency, and a clear declaration that wasn't about traditional measures of achievement and success, but rather the human-centered qualities that we now teach. Attributes like authentic vulnerability, far-thinking generativity, deep, curious listening, or heartfelt compassion. One of the most moving highlights of this journey was to close each session by asking folks if they would share any personal mantras learned as young people that help them steer straight today. I'm sure some of you have those yourselves. We heard words of wisdom from coaches and parents and grandparents, teachers, former bosses. And no matter where they came from, these anecdotes were always rich stories shared generously. And they kept giving. These simple yet profound refrains became narrative truths for us. I want to lift us all today by paying that forward and sharing 4 of the many refrains that we heard, with the hope that they can become part of the leader you are, not just what you do next. So come with me to London, one of the first cities in our global world listening tour, where we met Chloe. She shared with us one of the truths that meant the most to her. And it's a refrain that really stuck with us. We say it all the time now. Her dad would say, "Chloe, you know, you can't go to all the parties." Of course, he really meant that. I have 2 daughters now in their young 20s, and I can definitely relate to that parental guidance. But it came to mean something bigger in scope for Chloe and her father, and now for us, and maybe for you. A yes to something is a no to something else. So I ask you, what are you going to say yes to? Choose with intention. And then don't spend your energy worrying or having guilt about missing out on the rest. Take joy in your chosen path. Delight in it. Apply all you have to make that thing the thing. Because the truth of today is that you're going to have to choose over and over again every day. We simply have too many things going on. Thought leader Beck Heinrich calls this the doing disease and thinks of it as another kind of epidemic, one that is also life-threatening, but also brain-paralyzing and heart-destroying. And I will ask you, U of O master's graduates, to step back as you move forward today and think about how you can balance work and productivity with rest and renewal. Because the reality is this: both are proven necessary for high performance. And something tells me, as we've heard already, you may not have gotten a lot of the latter in the past few years. Something also tells me that you have the opportunity to set a refreshing example in the years ahead of what great leadership looks like, to not only model but reward a more balanced approach to work and life, an opportunity to celebrate the act of human being with as much or more than human doing. And this brings me to the second refrain I want to share with you today. We were on our last leg of our listening tour, having visited 3 countries in Africa and culminating in the southernmost tip of our tour in Johannesburg and then Cape Town, South Africa. And in that last session, we heard a powerful idea from a woman named Charlie. She shared with us that in her language, Xhosa, they would often just say, "Hambolala," which simply means go to bed. Hambolala. This encourages, of course, what so many of us need more of: quality sleep. But it's also an opportunity to trust that time and space and some quality REM sleep will help you crack open ideas in a more organic and often more potent way. So when things aren't coming to you, when it's been a trying day, when it's been an exhausting month, when you're facing perhaps some big feelings about large and small things, take Charlie's advice. Hambalala, just go to bed. The sun always comes up, and with it there is often fresh perspective and new hope. And when that day dawns, and you grow and lift to new solutions, you most likely will also face discomfort as you bump into ideas and people that push you into a space where you need to do your own work, to learn and to grow. I expect you all to stay in it, to rest when you need to, but most of all, to keep your human-centered focus rooted at the center of your widening worldview, to embrace a more humane way of being. Which brings me to our third refrain, some words to really live by. This time from San Francisco, a city that means a great deal to me, having started my own career there almost 35 years ago. A leader named Rachel shared this. Remember, everyone has their Everest. What did she mean by that? Everyone has their Everest. Rachel was reminding us to ask ourselves what else might be true. For the person sitting across from us whom we may not see eye to eye with, who perhaps just cut us off in traffic, or who is acting so very small right now. Instead of centering your pain, make space to consider theirs and the mountains they may have climbed as a young person or are climbing right now, maybe that morning, often with a too heavy pack filled with things like anger or fear or trauma and no support or rest in sight. This is empathy, of course, feeling with someone. And when we put focused action around it, it turns into something superpowered for any leader called compassion. You see, I'm asking you all to be a lot, and it is big. And it is just what we need in the world today, right now. I invite you to actively choose to decenter yourself as you take the first step out of this room today. Power is so seductive. As you grow and achieve more in your career and life, it can be so easy to lose sight of what and who it is all for. And you know what? That's not just hyperbole, it's fact. In a phenomenon called the power paradox, scientists have found that the thing people most desire and need from their leaders, this thing called social intelligence, is the very thing that is actually damaged by the experience of power. It starts so simply and beautifully. People who are empathetic tend to be nominated by their peers as natural leaders, and they rise in organizations. This trajectory likely describes a great deal of the people in this room. But there is a dark shadow to this light. As these empathetic leaders gain more power, they often paradoxically shed their empathy, the very thing that got them there. I've lived this phenomenon playing out right in front of me, and you may recognize it too. But if you don't believe me, believe the researchers at Stanford, Yale, and Northwestern. When people are asked to think of themselves as having high status, their ability to read other people's emotions decreases markedly. When you give a person even a temporary position of power, research shows it makes that person temporarily worse at seeing others' perspectives. Even just thinking of yourself as powerful focuses you inward. Said another way, power transforms, I would say deforms, our brains. So what's the antidote to this shrinking heart syndrome? It's something I learned from the great Bell Hooks, accomplished author and thought leader who held an ahead of her time, interconnected view of systems of oppression. Born Gloria Jean Watkins, she intentionally chose her pen name to honor her late grandmother, Belle Blair Hooks. Belle Hooks always wrote her name with all lowercase letters to focus on her message rather than herself. A decision shared by a writer and activist of our time, Adrienne Marie Brown, who also styles her name with all lowercase letters. And as she states, she's on this planet to grow healing ideas in public. She too wants you to focus on what she stands for, her way of being. She is a major guide and teacher for us at the LC. Please do yourself a favor and read her first book, Emergent Strategy, if you haven't. She taught me this in a post she shared in that dark, fear-filled summer of 2020, when so many of us were trying to find our way forward, reckon with our own deep-seated biases, and contribute to positive change. She wrote, "Don't center yourself. Center those most impacted, and then follow that center. And as you do, please remember, everyone has their Everest. And for the most marginalized in our communities, the most underestimated, undervalued, underserved, let's remember, some of us have a whole mountain range to climb that is steeper and higher than we might ever know or understand." With that, I'd like to close here by taking you right back to the city of Portland, where we heard the last refrain I'd like to share with you now. Sometimes you just have to throw your backpack over the wall. This refrain, as some of you might know, is actually based on an old Irish expression that states, "Just throw your hat over the wall." Apparently, John F. Kennedy used this in a speech in November 1963, recalling the Irish writer Frank O'Connor, who, along with his friends as a boy, would toss their hats over orchard walls that seemed too high or doubtful. They had no choice but to follow them and figure out how to get over that wall. Keep in mind that this was just a year after JFK declared in another famous public address that we choose to go to the moon. And 6 years later, in July of 1969, we made it there. JFK threw our hat over the wall. I love that story, and I also like the backpack spin, because in today's world, it's vital to have a pack that you can count on for the journey ahead. Anyone who has traveled a difficult trail with a heavy load knows keenly that you must mindfully consider what you put in that pack. And what, by the way, you leave behind. You must pay careful attention to how you carry your load. And back to the balancing, healing force of rest and renewal, when to let it down for a bit. When to perhaps let someone else carry it for a while. What's your rest step? Are you bringing a set of trekking poles? Do you have nourishment and something to warm you? To make a fire to warm others? This sounds like a lot of doing, but mostly these are choices around how you want to be as a leader. So, when you are ready, find the heart, the strength, the courage to throw that pack over the wall and to follow it courageously. Pick your path and say yes, but also honor when you must say no. And be confident in your curiosity when you don't know. As author and professor George Saunders, hello, from his book, A Swim in the Pond in the Rain says, "In a world full of people who seem to know everything passionately based on little, often slanted information, where certainty is often mistaken for power, what a relief it is to be in the company of someone confident enough to stay unsure. That is," he says, "perpetually curious." Which is perhaps the most important thing to be of all, confident in your curiosity. Back in 2018, hitting the global road for 2 years of learning and listening was my hat over the wall, my backpack, our moonshot. And I learned what I hope you will. This is a promise you make to yourself, to honor the awe and wonder of life, to remain curious, to not do more, but to be more, for yourself and for others. In closing, remember to rest and to decenter yourself as you lean fully into your commitment to lead with compassion, mindfully growing your heart. Revel in the beautiful trail ahead as you step out with luminous possibility before you. Thank you, everyone, and congratulations to the University of Oregon's Executive MBA graduates of 2023.
Carrie, on behalf of the Oregon Executive MBA class of 2023, I would like to thank you by presenting you with a symbol of our appreciation. We are so grateful for your remarks today, and thank you for taking the time to help us celebrate. And now, we begin the recognition of the graduates. It is my honor to announce the awarding of the Master of Business Administration degrees. Will all the graduates please rise? All right, first row, if you can please line up here. And second row, you can now be seated. Cole Lawrence Onberg. Alexis A. Baghdadi. Brian Abraham Bates. Elizabeth Caroline Ing Burke. Mary R. Cicchini. Jana Chapman. Aaron Jeffrey Cox. Megan L. Crosby. Timothy David Damron. Ian Denny. Mira S. Deshpande. David Michael Fleming Jones. Megan Fossmark. Maribel Garabay Vasquez. Matt Hefko. Mitchell Ron Heiner. Hannah Carson. Yana Yevgenyevna Kosuhin Semenova. Marisa Whipple Kraft. Brett Daniel Levin. Mary Catherine Lockwood is joining us via the webcast. So Mary, if you're out there, congratulations. Nicholas A. Lorenz. Lindsay McLean. All right. Will the second row please stand and line up here to the right? All right. Sunil K. Ma'awar. Brandy Hope Martin. Michael Brendan McGrew. Alyssa Ashley McKee. Rachel Jordan Minikes. Andrew Moreland. Treniere Marcia Moser. Gina Villalobos Perrine. Peter Jordan Pfeiffer. Mark Pimentel. Sean Rama. Daniel Benjamin Sylvie. Cameron Stipula. Wanchi Angela Tanaka. Courtney Ann Thompson. Jordan Robert Turner. Rachel Vori. David Michael Wolf. Adam Hamilton Young is also hopefully joining us via the live web feed, so congratulations, Adam. Taylor Electa Zabore.
Congrats, graduates. You made it. I don't know about you all in the audience, but my face hurts from smiling. I am Amanda Fontenot. I'm the Associate Director of the program, and I spend a lot of time with these students, like every weekend. So it has been amazing to be able to watch them progress through the 20 months, but also cross the stage today. So I now have the pleasure of introducing two groups of students to you. The first group we're going to honor is the Beta Gamma Sigma students. These are students who scholastic excellence has placed them in the top 20% of their class, and they are invited to join a scholastic honorary, the International Business Honor Society Beta Gamma Sigma. So what I'm going to do now is I will call their names, and I will have them stand up, and we're going to wait till the end to clap. So this year's members include Alexis Baghdadi, Lizzie Burke, Jana Chapman, Ian Denny, Sunil Mawar, Rachel Jordan Manikis, Andrew Moreland, and Courtney Ann Thompson. Congrats, everyone. There we go. The next group of students I get to honor are our military veterans. Today we have two, Aaron Jeffrey Cox and David Fleming Jones. Thank you for your service. Great job. Each year, the graduating cohort selects two peers to serve as their class commentator and provide a short speech that reflects on their experience and celebrates their success. As someone who spent a lot of time with these, I can now tell you that these two are the kindest humans ever. And actually, Carrie Hoyt said that often leaders with empathy are selected to move on, and I can tell you that the two selected are high empaths. So they are amazing humans, and I am excited to call up Jordan Pfeiffer as our first speaker. That's not a question. Yes. For the past 20 months, Jordan has commuted from Eugene in every other weekend, and he's taught us how to flamenco dance in Spain. Yeah, you did a pretty good job. And he's also a really great roommate, I hear, for the weekends that he had to stay here. So I will now turn it over to Jordan.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I honestly do not know why I was chosen, because I'm going to start crying in a minute. Excuse me. First, I want to thank the faculty for showing up each weekend with us. Would have been really weird if you hadn't have shown up, so I appreciate your dedication to our learning and commitment, and it really, it was a pleasure to work with you all. Thank you to the administration for putting up with us. I think that, especially our shenanigans, example I think of as our last day in Spain when we decided to get COVID. Thank you to my family for the love and support you gave me over the program. I wouldn't have done it without you. Thank you to Alma and Mano. I've never been so proud to be your father. And thank you to Molly. We're here. And Sean. And thank you to all of you, family and friends, who made sacrifice, who made your efforts so that I could hang out with these folks twice a month for the weekend. It made an impact on my life, and so I genuinely thank you. Thank you all. But if you'll excuse me, I'd like to talk directly to these fine folks here. You're welcome to listen in for, as I talk about, our 20 months together in the highly underestimated 5 minutes I was prescribed. Hey, we're here! Good job! I want you to think way back, 20 months ago, okay? When we were, we were dropped off by our caretakers, little pointy-head kids. What am I doing? Who are these people? Will they like me? Will be the orange slices at the breaks? Miraculously, we settled in. No surprise, a plan was in place and quickly taking form. On that first day of orientation, Andrew Nelson introduced us to the OE MBA experience. And with that process beginning the first of many hoops we were required to jump through. In one word, and this was the exercise you all remember, in one word, what is it that you want to get out of this program? And we all shared our words, and you wrote them on the board. I sent you all the photo. And the words we came up with were pretty amazing. And it's amazing not only because of the words that a newly acquainted MBA cohort came up with in the first half day, but because Andrew in the photo, and he's still, he's not moving, he's still. I think his hands are blurry. But the words we came up with: humility, gratitude, generosity, team support, inclusivity, safe, challenge each other, healthy competition, empathy, respect, bravery, recognition, engagement, check your ego out the door. But there are two additional words on the list. They're at the very top, and they have stars next to them. Trust and levity. Trust, levity. Two words that would establish our cohort from the start. We built trust together, trusting we could take a risk in the OE MBA laboratory and know that our team, our cohort, had our back. Whether it was taking a risk on a project, on an idea, on speaking up in class, or just presenting in front of the class when we knew it was the biggest challenge we would face in the whole program. We took risk and we rewarded each other with the trust in knowing you wouldn't be laughed at for taking a risk. We brought levity to the group in bulk, big time. Always able to laugh at ourselves, at our experiences, and support each other throughout. The trust to be able to have fun, stay focused, and bring our best selves. And starting with those two words, supported by the rest on the list, we would build a haven, an experience where we came away saying, because of this program, I believe in myself, I know I can do hard things. We did this together. We did this because of each other. At one point, we were labeled as, oh, you're the nice cohort. And of course, our response was, yeah, okay. But you want in on this? Because this is pretty fun. I mean, we're having a good time. And I know you only get us for 3 weekends, but you might as well join us while you can, because, we're not going to be here forever. During this brief journey together, we welcomed engagements, weddings, new family members, and losses. And now we're a family. A group of people that came together 20 months ago with separate expectations and goals, but grew together. And there are different relationships within the family, pods within the cohort that are tighter than others, individual relationships that stand out, and teams that bond for life. But what I believe to be true is we have each other's back. Each one of us. We have each other's back, right? Mary Lockwood said something to all of us, and I couldn't agree more. If you ever need something and my name pops up in your mind, please don't hesitate to reach out. True today, true always. I think if we were to rewrite that list today, if we were to come together, the exercise we did with Andrew, I think all of those original words would be included. But I think we would add 2 more. Family and love. Thank you. Thank you guys for making an amazing experience. I love you all. I love you all.
Thank you, Jordan. As we continue to celebrate the many accomplishments of Class 37, one of the most unique and outstanding, based on academic performance, is the valedictorian. It's my pleasure to introduce Ian Denny, valedictorian of Class 37. As I talk into Ian and to stand here with me, I want to say that this is particularly special. I think for a couple different reasons, but it's not just about his discipline or his intellect, but I want to talk about 2 traits that Ian consistently displayed, at least in my experiences with him and the experiences that I've heard from others. One is that I learned quickly that Ian chooses his words carefully and intentionally. The lesson is when Ian talks, you listen. There's going to be insight, there's going to be some nuance that others may have missed in the process. And I not only experienced this personally, but I saw this as Ian talked with his team and his classmates as well. Second, though, and maybe even more of a hallmark, is that Ian leads with kindness, consistent kindness. Now, when I say leads, I don't just mean that that's the first card he plays, because it is. You'll pick up on that quickly. But also his leadership style is one that is always consistently kind in his approach and in his way that he influences others. Ian, a phrase that you used in your capstone reflection paper was that you're motivated by the achievable. Jim Coonan, Ian's capstone advisor, would agree with that. And Jim would go on to say, if he were here, about how disciplined, how focused, how adaptable Ian was, especially with that change that took place. And he would have all kinds of things to say about him. I think the greatest comment and compliment that Jim paid Ian was when he said, and he's the perfect CFO. So If you knew Jim's pedigree, you would understand how powerful that is. Ian, like many of you, had to deal with the challenges of parenting. And although that grappling question of, do I really need to learn how to double nurse, was not your question, it was an issue, and Ian found creative ways to really bring this in as he pursued this tremendous accomplishment. Ian, congratulations. And I'm going to keep Ian up here with me because Ian's going to announce the Juliana Sowash Excellence in Teaching Award. And I want to just give you a little bit of context around this. First of all, this is a very prestigious award because it's elected by students, 2 faculty members that they see as outstanding. I have the honor to know Juliana, but for those of you that don't, she served as the executive director for this program for nearly 24 years, from 1995 to 2019. To put in perspective, when Juliana started in 1995, the program's 9th class was just graduating. Here we're at the 37th class. Over 1,000 students have gone through this program at this time. Juliana's leadership throughout the program, beginning in the Beaverton-Hillsborough area, then moving to the downtown Portland area, was instrumental in shaping all aspects of the economy within Portland, the state of Oregon, and beyond. Juliana's name is associated with this award to honor what she has done for this program. With that, Ian, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks, everybody. I just want to say a few words about our class and then talk about the teaching awards. I'm so honored to be here with you all. One fraction of one grade separated Jana and me at the end. And there were at least 2 others that could have come out in this position within the last 2 classes. And I'm just really honored and humbled to be part of that amazing group of people. Thank you to our talented and inspiring professors, to the leaders of the staff of the program for building this incredible experience and guiding all of us through it. This is absolutely not an individual accomplishment, getting this degree. Thank you, Annie, for putting up with probably the longest 2 years of your life, supporting me, picking up slack, and being a safe place for me to fall apart. I love you so much. Ellie, for stepping up in big ways to help with breakfast, taking care of the littles, and raising the puppy, and for always cheering me on. I love you. Thank you, August, for always being so kind and patient with all of us and often putting others ahead of yourself. I love you. I'm trying to see all of you guys. Thank you, Una, for finding ways to connect with me with middle of the night snuggles and early morning studying on the couch. I love you. Thank you to my parents, John and Sue, and to Annie's parents, Bill and Kay, for encouraging me and supporting us. I love you. I was so lucky to have 2 amazing teams, Fremont and Cocktail Napkin. Alyssa, Andrew, Cameron, Jana, Adam, Chelsea, Rachel, and Sean, thank you for showing me what teamwork really is, and for giving so much of yourselves to be truly present in this experience. I love all of you. And thank you to everyone in Class 37. This must be the best class that has ever come through this program. We are uniquely connected, we are uniquely open and caring, and I love all of you. I was a shadow. I was afraid. I was ashamed. I felt like an imposter. I felt like I didn't deserve to be here. And each of you, my family, my classmates, our faculty have been vulnerable and real and committed. Your connection, your passion, your willingness to put yourself on the line, to be brave, to be authentic, has changed me forever. I've learned that life is better when we are vulnerable and real and when we let the light in. All right, thank you. So before I introduce our teaching awards, I want to talk about, acknowledge someone who's no longer with us. Earlier this year, Associate Professor of Marketing Josh Beck died unexpectedly at age 37. I know we were all inspired by Josh's deep knowledge, connected with his passion, energy, and enthusiasm. He inspired us by bringing his whole self to his teaching and really connected with students in an authentic way. Josh's teaching made a significant impact on our class, and we wish he could be here to enjoy this day with us. Thank you, Josh, for everything you brought to your work at the OA MBA and the Lundquist College of Business. And let's take a moment of silence to remember Josh. All right. Now, I would like to recognize this year's 2 recipients of the Juliana Sowash Excellence in Teaching Award. First, we would like to honor Deb Bauer. It seems like Deb wins this award a lot. And I think it's clear to all of us why that might be. Deb taught our financial analysis class last spring, something I'm sure many of us were both eager to learn and slightly terrified by. When we realized she'd be making us do the math longhand with pencil and paper, I'm sure some of us were initially even more terrified. But we all quickly realized the wisdom of this approach, and Deb made the course less about memorizing formulas and Excel wizardry and more about building a muscle memory and an intuitive understanding of what financial analysis actually means. She gave us a belief that it could be figured out and applied in meaningful ways. Deb brought an approach that was both no-nonsense and straightforward, but also kind and understanding. She demystified finance, connected the dots, and connected with us. Congratulations, Deb. And thank you for inspiring us. Our next honoree is Joshua Gordon. Josh taught what may have been tied with finance for the most terrifying class for many of us, negotiations. While Josh is an incredibly accomplished negotiator, he brought genuineness, vulnerability, and humility to the topic that disarmed and engaged. We learned that we each bring unique strengths and capabilities to the table. We learned the power of preparation. He removed the fear from a subject that I'm sure many of us thought was about power and adversity. He revealed its value-generating potential and gave us the confidence to tackle negotiating with creativity, preparation, and curiosity. And I know every single one of us has already benefited from bringing what he taught us into the real world. Thank you, Josh, for building us up.
Next up is our second class commentator, Mary Cicchini. Do you mind coming up here? So I've had one lovely opportunity to get to know Mary over these past few years, but one of my favorite things is every night at dinner, Mary was a new mom when she started the program, and every night at dinner on Fridays, she'll FaceTime her daughter Goldie near the duck. Oh yeah, hi Goldie. And call and give her a good night, call before she goes to bed, and it's absolutely precious. So I'm gonna turn it over to Mary.
You know, the wonderful thing about Jordan going first is it really takes the pressure off making all of you both laugh and cry. So thank you. It could be a bit more straightforward. It's really an incredible honor to be up here today to share a few words on behalf of the graduates. The amazing Class 37, the Oregon Executive MBA class of 2023. It's really an honor. But I'd like to start first by echoing Jordan's appreciation for our friends and family, many who are in this room today. Now, if I'm being honest, and you all can check me, but I don't know if we as students really truly understood what would be necessary for us to succeed in this program, let alone what it would require of all of you and the sacrifices that you would have to give so that we could show up and do this program. You carried more than your fair share of housework, childcare, and the logistics of life. We know that we missed lots of parties and planning. You carried that burden, often at the cost of your own fun. And for the partners in the room, many of which likely shared the burden of funding our education. So we can't forget that. So on behalf of the graduates, we want you to know that we see you, we appreciate you, and we want to express our deepest gratitude for helping us get to this moment. So thank you. And to my personal family, my husband, Zach, who really gave me the gift of time, unwavering support, and belief that I could do this. And together, we could figure out how to make life and work and school and new parenting work. And to my beautiful daughter, Goldie, right here in the front. Hi, sweetie. I was actually pregnant with you when I applied to this program. It's a whole nother story. And you were just 8 months old when I started. And like many parents, or like many children who have parents graduating today, Goldie, you gave up a lot of time with your mama so I could be here. I hope I've made you proud, and as you get older, you understand and see what the sacrifice was about. And that I wasn't just hanging out with a ducky every Friday and Saturday. I love you both so much. Now to the graduates. I am so proud to stand next to all of you today. I'm pretty sure, I feel like in hindsight, we all signed up for this, for the education. I'm sure that's what we told ourselves. Looking to fill perhaps professional gaps, find inspiration for what's next, or to help bolster that professional ladder climb. Now, had Rachel, Todd, or the admissions staff told us that your life would change not because of what we're studying or the classes we were going to take, but based on the people that you'd share this with, I think we'd think she was kind of crazy. I'm not sure we would have all signed up, but the reality is that's exactly what has happened. I mean, yes, we have stretched ourselves outside our core area of expertise. We've learned financial modeling and valuation. Thank you, Deb Bauer, MPV. We have been introduced to the world of supply chain strategy. We've gone deep on corporate strategy, from mergers and acquisitions and new venture planning, corporate financing, structure. I mean, this might be too soon. But we've gained a healthy degree of skepticism through economics. We've learned to negotiate like a boss. We've dipped our toe in business law. I mean, in good grief, we learned to code. Didn't think that was going to happen. But even with that impressive slate of education, what I'm feeling today is the weight of all of you and how you've impacted me and how I see how we've impacted each other. Y'all are the right amount of crazy, that is for sure. You have insight and experience for days, and you've made this journey one of the greatest adventures of my whole life. But to be real with you, building on this moment and frankly getting out of one of the best things that's happened to us in the last few years, it requires all of us to show up for each other for moments of fun, moments of support, and for connection. Now, if we want to maintain this bond, and well, to quote my biggest takeaway from econ, it depends. It depends on how we choose to engage with one another. It depends on all of us showing up for annual reunions and posting photos and updates on our WhatsApp group so we can celebrate our wins and milestones and give support when we need to be lifted up. It depends on all of you showing up to cheer on Jana and Alyssa when Paloma goes public, which is happening. And as Rama Design leaves its mark on the global aviation industry. It depends. It depends on each and every one of you truly knowing when you get to that scary moment of a job negotiation or that weird thing that happened at work that like you could call Lindsay and like she is there to help you navigate that scary HR moment. It depends on you reaching out when you see that a classmate was impacted by a layoff. Just do it. Just do it. Reach out. It depends on you really, truly believing that Alexis will be there when you have to apply for your first grant application and you have no idea where to begin, or that Abe will be there to help to listen and help you find the clarity that you need. Or Mark being there to help you figure out a new brand. How do I show up in the world? What does it look like? Mark's there. And when you get to that moment where you get to be a CEO for the first time, call Brandy. She'll show you the ropes. And it really also depends on those of you that live out of town, or maybe a few of you that are soon moving out of town. I think I have the whole list of Megan, Mary, Nick, Rachel, Taylor, Mira, Aaron, David, and Jordan. Let us know when you're in Portland. You gotta let us know so we can see you, we can catch up. It's a simple action, but a short text that says, hello, I'm thinking of you. I hope you're doing well. Just send the text. It's just the smallest thing. And Ian, where'd you go, Ian? It depends on you really keeping an open door to help us on like all the things, like all of them. I'm sorry, it's just the burden you carry by being both smart and kind and lovely. It depends on you to think of us as a team and find even the smallest ways to support each other. So when you see that article, that event, that invite, that podcast, forward it along. And it even depends on our Hood to Coast team, which, if you don't know, is very impressive. I think it's all Megan, Abe, Alyssa, Maribel, Adam, Cole, Jordan, Trinier, Rachel, Mike, Sunil, and Daniel, who together are leading a Class 37 Hood to Coast team. Maybe invite us to your training run, or like I'll do water or something, but let us help celebrate what you're all achieving together. And Mitch, it depends on you continuing to show up, wear the clothes, let us celebrate it, let us enjoy it. Can't wait to see your next suit. I'm surprised you're very subdued today. And David and Jordan, it really depends on you to like keep those Saturday morning concerts alive. I don't think you really understand how much joy and levity you bring to our group. It depends on all of that and frankly, just so much more, so much more. I'm asking you, as you have previously asked yourself, to commit. But this time, I'm not asking you to commit to finishing a degree or showing up to class every other weekend or like so many Zoom calls and reading and research and studying and papers and presentations. I mean, good God, it's kind of exhausting even to think about. But I'm asking you to commit to investing in these relationships in our group. Just commit. Because if we've impacted each other this much in the last 2 years, think of what it looks like if it stays that way forever. I think our lives will exponentially be different. In closing, I want you to know how proud I am of you. But like more than that, I hope you feel proud of yourself. You know, I think as adults, it's not an emotion we often feel that often because we're really busy sharing that with other people, our teams, our staff. But I have to be honest, like starting business school after working for 15 years and graduating with a family and school and work, like I'm proud of myself. So I ask you to please find a moment and sit in that feeling before you just move on to the next thing. Like sit in that moment and really let the magnitude of what you've just done start to sink in. Because what we've done is truly an accomplishment, and you made it here because you believed in yourself. You stretched, we all stretched our comfort zone so open wide, and I hope you're feeling what I'm feeling is that like in that stretch, like that's where the good stuff happens. And it's really uncomfortable, but like you found it. I hope you keep that with you. Because along the way, not only did you find the good stuff, but you found 40 plus new friends. Now, how often does that happen in your adult life where you just like suddenly make 40 new friends? Let's get real. That's like pretty amazing right there. But you also reset your life view. You might have recoursed your trajectory. I mean, what a gift. What a gift you gave yourself. I'm beyond proud of this crazy crew, and I'm grateful and humbled by the opportunity to share a few words with you all today. So thank you, congratulations to Class 37.
Thank you, Mary. Now, can we give a final round of applause for all of our 4 inspiring presenters here today, Bruce Blonigan, Carrie Hoyt-Peck, Jordan Pfeiffer, and Mary Cicchini. And Mary, I know that somewhere out there, Glenn Waddell is smiling. I counted at least 14 "it depends" in your speech. And Bruce, for the record, if we actually move on this Oregon Top Gun Academy idea of yours, my call sign is Malibu. I've got it taken. Class 37, I just want you to know how grateful I am to have had the opportunity to support and get to know this group of smart, accomplished, compassionate individuals. You have had an impact on my life as well. Sean, you know that I can't visit an airport without thinking about you or whether ROM design was somehow involved in what I'm looking at. And Jordan, I can't even look at a flamenco dancer photo without thinking of that amazing, impressive step-by-step instruction that you gave us in front of the Prado Museum. Wasn't it, pick the flower, put it in the basket, pick the flower, put it in the basket? And Gaudi's Park Güell in Barcelona is where the entire cohort surprised Mary Cicchini with a happy birthday song, which, by the way, was captured on video for anyone who'd like to relive that moment. Mary, your birthday song will always be associated with Catalan modernism. And folks, for the record, I am painfully aware that I am the one thing standing between all of you and a celebratory glass of champagne, and knowing the pressure is on, I'm going to do my best to keep this brief. Now, I know that Jordan and Mary also mentioned this, but I want to call out that this celebration revolves around the soon-to-be graduates, but they couldn't have gotten here by themselves. For the last 2 years, every single person in this room has been involved in one way or another with the program. So in a sense, today is graduation day for all of you behind these front 2 rows. All of you have devoted time, emotion, energy to this program, but unfortunately, we can only give degrees to those who attended the classes. But for the rest of the family members and friends gathered here, we are returning your loved one for some real family time. So Class 37, can you please stand up and turn and applaud the friends, families who have shared this challenge with you? All right. So Class 37, before I send you off to toss caps and break bread with family, friends, and loved ones, I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to thank the other special individuals in our community who have helped make your journey possible. I'd like to start by thanking Doug Wilson, the Oregon Executive MBA Co-Academic Director, Marketing Instructor, Capstone Coordinator, Oregon Executive MBA Academic Committee Chair. Thank you, Doug. I would also like to acknowledge the other members of our academic committee who helped shape the direction of the Oregon Executive MBA. Angie Davis, who is our co-academic director, Brandon Julio, Nagesh Murthy, and Kyle Peterson, who is with us here today on stage. Next, I'd like to recognize the remaining faculty and coaches who are joining us here today. Deb Bauer, who we've already applauded and recognized as Juliana Sowatch Excellence in Teaching Honoree, Instructor of Financial Analysis and Global Studies Trip, and Michael Martin Tellis, Oregon Executive MBA Team Coach, and Oregon Executive MBA Class of 2018. Next, I want to acknowledge the Oregon Executive MBA staff, a group of passionate individuals defined by excellence. You will not find a team more committed to student success. The work they do ranges from ordering books, working on Canvas, student advising, career coaching, coordinating meals, planning events like today's commencement, attracting, recruiting, and enrolling the best and brightest candidates, Class 37, as well as actively promoting our students, alumni, and faculty in the media and social channels. These folks do all the things. So in alphabetical order, I'd like to thank Kit Alderdice, our newest team member, Caitlin Biddulph, Carrie Brunson, Amanda Fontenot, Katrina Loganamothe, Wendy Sierra, yes, and Nana Tuffin. And finally, I want to acknowledge our behind-the-scenes tech support staff who manage the complexities and technology of our classrooms and honestly make us all look good. Doug Brazell, Sean Curtin, David Nedbornik, Clayton O'Brien, and Amelia Straub. Now, Class 37, you have impressed us at every turn. We have enjoyed watching you come together as a community over the past 20 months, and while we are aware of your rigorous academic accomplishments, I would like to share a few other impressive statistics. 56% of Class 37 had at least one positive career move while they were in the program. 26% of this cohort moved into new positions at new organizations. One student became a CEO while in the program, and another student is launching his own business. Now, on a more personal note, this cohort welcomed 7 babies to the following 6 students: Treniere Moser, Mike McGrew, Cameron Stipula, Daniel Sylvie, Mark Pimentel, and Taylor Zabore. Thanks for the twofer. Additionally, there were 5 weddings celebrated over the past 20 months, and here are our Class 37 newlyweds: Janet Chapman, Aaron Cox, Hannah Carson, David Wolf, and Adam Young. And can I say that this list of events and professional accomplishments made me exhausted just reading it? Oh my gosh. But in all seriousness, we are proud of all you have taken on in your lives and accomplished professionally while being enrolled in a full-time executive MBA program. Class 37, we are honored to have played a small part in preparing you for the many challenges and rewards that lie ahead. We hope that we have instilled in you a desire to make a difference and to inspire others to do the same. We look forward to following your careers and personal accomplishments. We also hope to continue to be a part of your lives, so please know that we are proud of you and accept our warmest congratulations on this special day. On behalf of the Oregon Executive MBA and the University of Oregon, congratulations to the graduates. One last applause. Can please join us, everybody. Let's cheer for the Oregon Executive MBA Class of 2023. Let's give it up for Class 37. Woo! Oh. Wait a minute. Oh, we have a special guest here today. We have someone that's apparently going to help lead us with the recessional. Come on down. Come on. Come on. Graduates, can you all please stand? And graduates, please recess.